Hello, everybody. I think, I think we're having a sound issue. One second. Let's see. Nope. Testing again. One minute. Yeah, but aren't you guys hearing an echo? Oh, that's weird. No echo for you guys. Okay. Hold on one second. Let me try that. All right. All right. Over here, it seemed like I was having an echo, but we're going to go with it. Welcome, you guys, to Get Crackin' on Christmas. I'm so excited to spend this evening with you and share with you guys my two cards that we're going to create. Just a quick rundown of what Get Crackin' on Christmas is. On the third Thursday of every month, I post a holiday card. I have some crafty friends that post holiday cards as well, and I always link to them on my blog post. And it's really just an initiative so that we are creating our holiday cards throughout the whole year. And then that way, come the fall, October, November, we are not stressed making our holiday cards because then you're not really enjoying yourself, right? And so this way, if we're making a few cards every month throughout the year, we're enjoying ourselves more, we're not feeling as stressed, you're a little bit more apt to maybe try different techniques or play and experiment. And then I also like that it's encouraging me to make different cards. I'm not one to want to mass produce cards. I kind of get really bored with doing like the monotonous same designs over and over. So when you're creating cards throughout the year, each month, you're more apt to use different supplies. I don't know about you guys, but I think that the stamp companies completely rock it for the holiday season. They always come out with wicked cute sets that I always need. And I buy them all, which they all come out, in August, September, and there's no way that I have time to use them. So this also encourages me to actually use what I'm buying. So, every month on the third Thursday of the month, I post my card. I share my crafty friends links to their cards. And then I encourage you guys to join me during my live. I have a schedule all up on my website. It's usually the Friday after the third Thursday, depending on life plans. But I encourage you guys to join me and not only watch me make my card tonight and learn and ask me questions and maybe, see some tips and tricks, but you can also be working on your cards, and it kind of gives you that time that we all wish we had more of, because you're already joining me. And then hopefully, whatever I'm sharing with you guys tonight will inspire you. You do not need to have my supplies, have the same exact thing, create the same thing. It's more just like all of us getting together on this Friday night to hang out and make cards together, right? But as always, if you have had an exhausting week and you just want to sit back and watch, that's okay as well. I'm just so excited that you guys are joining me. So I'm live here on YouTube. I'm also live on my Facebook page. This is some techie stuff that I figured out last month, so I apologize about the beginning with my sound issues. I think I'm still kind of figuring that part out. I love it. Debbie's working on her Easter cards. Perfect. And if you're in Canada, they often don't get to you until 3 days to Christmas. Exactly. Hello, Liz. Hello, Arlene. Hi, Brienne. Hello, everybody. Hi, Marcia. Hi, Laura. Hi, Leslie. Hi, Wendy. Hi, Mary Lou. I can't wait to see what you create tonight. Hi, Claire and Jackie. Awesome. So excited that you guys have joined me. Oh no, Laura's grading exams. Oh, well, at least you'll be able to craft tomorrow, Laura. Just watching, no problem, Linda. Hello, Scrappy Chic in the house. Hi, Nicole. Liz is arranging her Copic collection. That sounds fun. Awesome. All right, so I am going to set up this camera. Let's see how we do here. Let's see. All right, let's flip this over. There we go. And just let me know if you guys can still hear me okay. Just adding in that second camera. Hello, Cheryl. Happy you could make it. Hi, Anne from Connecticut. Not too far. Hello, Michelle. Looks like I got Michelle and Renee tonight from Scrappy Chic. Awesome. Tracy's working on some challenge cards. I love it. Thank you, Debbie. It's past Valentine's Day, but I figure we can wear hearts whenever we want, right? Awesome. Sound is still good. Awesome. Yay. All right. So if you guys have attended any of my in-person art retreats or my virtual art retreats, one company that I love, love, love and has supported me since the very first art retreat back in my loft in Rhode Island is Newton's Nook. And I love Newton's Nook. And so Newton was their kitty. He was an orange tabby cat. He's no longer with us, but he still lives in the brand. And so Jennifer Jackson and her husband Jeff own the company, but Jennifer does all of the artwork. And so for years now, I have been making Newton look like Mr. Harley. So Mr. Harley makes it on my cards a lot. And of course, I have two other kitties, Jack and Gus Gus, and they make it on my cards sometimes. But to be completely honest, because they're all black cats, it's a little bit harder to feature them. And Mr. Harley is just so quick and easy to color. And I just, he's my first baby. Not my number one baby, but my first baby. So I often buy Newton's Nook stamps and I don't get to play with them as much as I would like to. But again, this Get Crackin' on Christmas allows me to kind of dig into my stamp bin and see what holiday sets I haven't had a chance to play with yet. So what I am playing with tonight, these are actually two smaller sets. So if you're team dog, you can get just the dog set. And if you're team cat, you can get just the cat set. All of the supplies tonight are linked over on my website. I put the link in the caption of the video on YouTube and the video on Facebook. Everything's linked there. Those are my affiliate links, so I appreciate when you guys use them, but it's also just nice to see all the stuff listed out there for you. So there's Snow Angel Puppy and Snow Angel Newton, and we are going to make both cards tonight. And I have to tell you, I had so much fun creating these cards. I love how they came out. And of course, you guys that know me, I always got to throw in some non-traditional holiday colors, and teal is always a given. And then throwing in the little bits of pink, I think are so, so fun as well. Right? Who doesn't like to make snow angels pet style? I love it. As long as I'm not really feeling the snow. All right, so we are going to get started. I'm actually going to start with Copic coloring, and I already stamped my images onto some Nina cardstock. Something that I've been doing for the past few months now is anytime I do Copic coloring on a card that I share on my website, I list the Copics like this. And I think that this is really helpful because, and on my blog, like there's a really nice picture with the cards together with the Copics. But I think this is really helpful because you guys can save this photo from my website and you'll have it as a reference. Those of you guys that have been filling up your Creative Chick class binders from the classes you've been taking with me, this is another resource you can add to those binders. But even if you don't have Copic markers, or maybe you don't have the same exact Copic markers, seeing the swatches of colors, I think really helps you be able to substitute for another Copic marker, another alcohol-based marker, or even, colored pencils or whatever it is that you guys are going to color with. So keep an eye on that for, on my website. Again, anytime I'm using Copic markers now, I am sharing this little swatch list to let you guys know exactly what colors I'm using. Awesome. I'm so glad you guys are finding that helpful. All right, so I already stamped both pets on Nina Solar White 80-pound cardstock. I always use Lawn Fawn Jet Black Premium ink. It's alcohol marker friendly, but it also works with watercoloring. Really nice, crisp, black ink pad. I see this question all the time, all over social media, what black ink to use. There's many options out there, but this is the one that I use literally daily. So we are going to dive right in and start coloring. Now, even though tonight we're just coloring Mr. Harley, I do want to point out, if you look on my YouTube channel, this past fall, one of my Get Crackin' on Christmases, I colored a set from, I think it was Trinity Stamps, and it was a row of kitties, and they were caroling. And I was really proud of myself because we did a calico kitty, we did an orange tabby kitty. Of course, we had Mr. Harley on there too. But if you're looking for some easy cat coloring for other kinds of cats, definitely check out that video. Yes, a snow doggy angel, so cute. Yes, you're welcome, you guys. Yay. All right. So for Mr. Harley, I'm just going to use W8, or actually I used T8. Sorry. I used T8 on my, but really any 8 in the Copic family will work. I will say that I had to keep going to look at Mr. Harley because I couldn't remember how his spots would show up on his belly. I don't see his belly very often. He definitely does not like his belly rubbed ever, unless you want to lose like a whole hand. So he was actually laying in our spare bedroom, which is also Chris's office. And I kept going in there and like peeking at his underside, and he was not impressed. But anyways, I determined all of his belly is pretty much white, which also just made this coloring really nice and easy. I love Mr. Harley's markings, his black and his white, and all of his skin is usually very pink, like his ears and his nose, except for when he is very sleepy. So when I first got him as a kitten, he was super pink because he's like running around and doing all those kitten things. And then I remember waking up next to him like that first morning, and I honestly thought like he was sick or something because he was so pale looking. None of his pink was in his face yet. And I was like, oh my gosh, is there something wrong with him? But I've learned over the years, it's just kind of when he's super mellow, he is not as pink. I posted a photo, I think on my Instagram stories the other day. He was sleeping here in my studio and the sun was just shining through and his ears were literally glowing pink. It was so cute. Ah, awesome. All right, so I am just coloring his black markings. Again, he's a really easy kitty to color. So I get it pretty easy whenever I do feature him on a card. Just a little side note is if you go to my website and you want to see all the kitty cards that he's been on, you can go to my website, shirkus.com, and you can just search Mr. Harley, Mister, and you will see all of the cards that I've created over the years with him in it. And then you can also search Jack, and you can also search Gus. There's not as many of them, like I was explaining, but there's some out there. All right. Yay! Hi, Lori. Happy you popped on. So we're going to add this little bit of pink with the RV10 to get his glowingness, because he's busy making snow angels. So we know he's definitely going to be pink. And I'm adding it to his little toe beans. And then I'm going to rosy his cheeks a little bit. And then I sometimes like to just take this RV00 and blend out the ear a little bit. And I'm noticing, you guys, when I'm showing you guys my marker on screen here, that the numbers are not focusing. So that's something I'm gonna have to play with and see why that's not happening. So I apologize. I do see that's happening, and I will look into that for next time. All right, so now that we have that done, what I did just do, very simple, is I took T0 and I'm just inlining him. So I'm not tracing the outside of him, I'm just tracing kind of the inside of all of his white bits. And you guys are not going to be able to see this on the camera, but when you do this in person, it really just adds a nice little bit of definition. And it really does make a difference, but it's definitely something that is tricky to see on camera. Hello, Natalie. Thanks for popping on with us tonight. And then I'm also inlining his belly. All right. Oh, I forgot this arm. All right, so now we are going to start to color the doggy. We'll do all of their winter gear at the same time, since it's somewhat of the same color. Let's try to zoom in a little bit. I feel like, bear with me, you guys. Again, still figuring out this newer software. I feel like I'm zooming in, but it's not zooming in for you guys. So, all right, I'm going to keep working. And again, always learn something new. So I will be working on this software another time. Okay, so we are going to color the doggy. And for him, I used E41, E42, and E43. Okay. And I'm going to start with the E43. I always, you know me. I actually used a little bit of E25. Sorry about that. That's going to be my darkest. And I'm going to add that in first, just kind of anywhere that I want some really rich dark areas on the puppy. So I'm having it come out from his hat, down over the top of his ears, down along the right side of his face. We're going to avoid the left patch on his eye and his little muzzle area. We'll do a little bit of shadow down here on his little belly. Coming out from his scarf. I always add the shadow first. I leave my lightest points of whatever I'm coloring to be colored last, so it'll stay nice and true and light. All right. Jennifer says, since the Scent with Love class, I have started swapping out some of my broad tips for fine tips. Oh my God, it's amazing, right? It's like a whole new, it's like you have all brand new markers. Oops, I want to add just a little bit of this E25 to his tail. So now I'm going in with E43, and I'm essentially coloring directly over that E25, but it's mixing the two colors together. I'm sure that there's like an E40 something I could have used, but I have the next color I have is E47, and I just felt that was a little too dark. So that's why I'm kind of making this E25 work. Remember, you can layer your Copics and get different colors. Just experiment. And that's kind of really what I did with this dog. This is a very different coloring for me, like color scheme. But it was fun to do something different and try something a little bit different. So I'm just going through everywhere that I put the E25, and I'm coloring over it with that E43. Extending the color a little bit, but really just focusing on saturating the paper so that the two colors are going to blend together. I'm going to bring this up to the camera for you guys so you can kind of see what's going on. Okay. And then I'm going to go in with my E42, and I'm just blending out the edge of this E43. So that means I am dabbing the marker multiple times to get the paper to saturate so the colors will mix, but I'm not coloring everywhere. I'm just doing the edges so that I will still have some white bits on this puppy dog. I work my way around the whole image. And again, this is using kind of, you know, 3 colors, but my typical Copic coloring is 2-color blending. I keep it pretty simple. This is how I've been coloring with Copic markers for over 12 years now. It's what works for me. It's what I enjoy. It's what's successful for me. And I think it's really doable for everybody. All right, so we've got this kind of look right here. Yeah, the E40s are a lot of fun, Danielle, and we actually might be using them on some new mice in my next online class, just saying. All right, I'm going to continue with the E42 and fill in these white areas with just 1 layer of color. I am going to avoid his left patch on his eye and his muzzle area. Hello, Rebecca. Thanks for popping in. So I'm just filling in the rest of his area, 1 layer with E42. And the reason why I'm making it clear I'm just using 1 layer is that means I'm getting the lightest version of this color. With Copics, if you keep coloring over and over and over with 1 marker, it gets darker and darker and darker. So we don't want that to happen, okay? Now, if we have any areas that maybe have a harsh line or have a little bit of an awkward transition, I'm going to actually go back to my E43, and I'm just going to kind of flick out that marker and just soften that line a little bit. The beauty of when you're doing something like an animal that has hair, it's not awkward, or it won't look weird to see any little lines. It'll just kind of look like their hair. And in true Jen fashion, I'm going out of the lines. I always go out of the lines when I'm teaching live, because the angle I have to sit at when I'm filming. So I see it. You don't need to tell me. Yes, Miss Happy, these are alcohol-based artist grade markers. So they blend so nicely. This is exactly what they're made to do. It does take a little bit of practice, but I have been using these markers for over a decade now and teaching with them. And you can do some pretty incredible things with them. I'm going to be doing an online Copic coloring class this year in 2022. So if you guys are not already on my email newsletter, you definitely want to head over to my website, shirkus.com, and subscribe so that you'll get notified of all the fun things that I have planned for this year. Sign-ups and registrations and things like that. All right. And then I'm just looking at his belly. I'm trying to remember what I did. I think I took a little E43 and went along the right side. And then we'll blend that out with the E42, and then we're going to start to work with our E41 marker that we haven't even used yet. Aw, yay, Kathy. I'm so excited that you're excited for the Copic class. Spoiler alert, I did share my schedule of classes from now until June. So the Copic class is going to be in the fall. So just keep that in mind when you are waiting for those details. I was already doing so many things in March with Crop and Create, my Crop on the Cape in-person event, and Firefly Farms Creative Crate, that there just isn't enough hours in the day. So we're going to do another distress class this spring in April. We're going to have a virtual art retreat in June. So now I am blending out with that E41 on his belly, his little eye patch, and his little snout here. So cute. And then I'm going to fill in his little toe beans. Do dogs have toe beans or just kitties? I haven't owned a dog in so long. You're welcome. I'm happy. I'm a planner, even though I am somewhat disorganized sometimes. I'm a planner, and I know everybody has really busy lives, and I want you guys to all be able to join me in all the things. So that's why I did that save the date graphic, because that's how I have to plan everything out that far in advance. So I thought it would be helpful for you guys to be able to kind of pencil those dates in and, maybe plan lives around it if possible. So I'm glad to hear that that was really helpful for you guys. Yay, first timer for Firefly Farms Creative Crate. You're going to love it. Thank you, Heidi, for answering Jen's question. I missed that. So I do not have every Copic marker that is out there. There's over 300 of them. And I do not have that many. I feel like I've counted them before, but I always forget how many I have. But it's under 200, and honestly, under that is what I actually use. I have some markers over here on my in my holder that I never use. So that's why I'm a firm believer that even though Copics are expensive, I don't think that you need to own them all. And that's why I think they are a good investment, because you don't need to own them all. So it's not as expensive of an investment as you think it might have to be. But yeah, like Heidi mentioned, which it's good to see you, Heidi. I do have a list of 50 markers. That's a good starting set over on my website. If you just search Shirkus Copic 101 on the internet, you should be able to find that. Yay! I'm so glad that you guys enjoyed that, or you're finding that save the date graphic helpful. That makes me happy. All right, so now we have our kitty colored and our dog colored. I'm going to quickly color in his nose with the T8, which is the same color I used for Mr. Harley. Now, Copic has a 110 black marker, and I do own it, but I will be 100% honest with you, I don't think I've ever used it. It's so dark that it will take away the stamped line and you'll lose kind of the detail of the stamp image. And that was kind of something I learned. Again, I probably used the marker once and I learned that. And then now I always use the 8s, the darkest grays. So W8, T8, C8, whatever, 8 marker you have in the grays. All right, so now we are going to do some coloring on their hats and their scarves. I'm going to start with the pinks. So I used RV21 and RV10. Again, if you're kind of new to me, I love, love, love to use non-traditional colors when I'm making holiday cards. I personally am not a huge fan of traditional red and green. I kind of get bored with that. So I always love to kind of mix it up with pinks and teals and lime greens. But if you like something a little bit more traditional, you could still make this same card and just switch up the colors to be a bit more traditional, right? All right, so I am just adding the RV21 as the shadow, just a little bit on the left side of the scarf stripes, and I did the right side of his hat. I'm going to go ahead and do the shadow on Mr. Harley as well. Same thing, kind of the left side of the stripes on the scarf. And then I'm going to do a little bit on his hat as well, up here at the kind of point. Can I do a lime green Christmas card next month? I can try, Nicole. It all depends what stamp set I pull out that inspires me to create with. To the left of me, I have one of my shelving units, and I have a bin of holiday stamps that I have not used yet. So every month when I'm designing for Get Crackin', I just kind of shuffle through that and see what inspires me and pull out a few different supplies that might work together. But I'll keep that in mind. I'll try to think of something lime green. Definitely can check back on my previous Get Crackin' on Christmas videos. They're going to be easier to find right on YouTube, but also on my website in the sidebar, I put the Get Crackin' on Christmas logo, and that'll bring you to a page that kind of explains it. And then it also links to all of my previous posts, because I've been doing this Get Crackin' on Christmas for a few years now. It actually started with my friend Shari. She and I were talking about how disappointed we were and how many holiday cards we made one year, which was pretty much none. And so we started it as a challenge for each other. And then I invited my friend Sharon to kind of join in, and they both still participate sometimes. But that's how that all started. Bins of shame. I don't think they're bins of shame. They're just waiting to have some love. Meg says she's definitely all over the place when it comes to holiday colors, but a little more traditional at times. I get that. Yeah, I know like sometimes maybe the colors I choose aren't everybody's style, but hopefully you're still getting some neat ideas. Awesome. Yeah, Heidi just said she has 72 Copics and she's never felt that she needs more. And I know how many cards Heidi makes, so that does show you. You really don't need a ton of them. Do you use the Copic sketch more than other Copics? So Ellie, my favorite Copic is actually the Copic original, which is the square barreled one. I really love having the little fine point tip. And then what I've done with my broad tip is I've switched it to be a brush tip, but the brush tip is a lot smaller, and I find it's more manageable than the super brush tip that comes on a sketch marker. It lets out a little bit less ink, so I find I don't oversaturate my images too much. So, and I talk about that in my Copic 101 blog post. So if you just search for that, if you can't find it on my website, you guys can always email me and I'll send you the link. But so I'm going to do some teal. I know, shocker. I'm going to start with the BG13. That's going to be my shadow. But I've always had the Copic originals. I do have a few more sketch more recently. A friend of mine kind of doesn't craft as much anymore, so I purchased her Copic collection. So I got a lot more sketch that way because she used sketch the most. And there are a few colors that I really love that only come in sketch, so I'll use those as well. But the Copic originals are my favorite. I know that's a bit of a minority in the paper crafting world, but especially when I was teaching in-person classes, I had so many people use my Copic originals and they were just amazed at how much more control they had and how they didn't, go out of the lines as much or oversaturate the cardstock as much. And so if you have a lot of sketch markers, you can change your broad tip to be a fine tip. And that's what somebody was mentioning earlier that she's started to do. All right. Hopefully I'm not missing any of your questions, you guys. I think I'm seeing everything come over from Facebook and YouTube. That's why I'm kind of using this newer to me software so that I can broadcast on both platforms. Although I'm definitely still learning it. But I figure if you don't do it, you won't learn, right? All right, so I'm blending out the BG13 with BG11. And then we are going to actually fussy cut these guys out, which I know puts some people into a panic. But there's sometimes, like for this card, you have to fussy cut because of the technique that you want to do, right? I have the dies for this set, and we are going to use those. But sometimes fussy cutting is the way to go. All right, I think I colored everything. I'm just peeking at my original samples. I want to rosy the dog's cheeks a little bit, right over his little cheek freckles. And I think that was it. Yeah, okay. So now we are going to fussy cut these guys out. I love the Fiskars Spring Action scissors. I've been using these for, oh my gosh, almost probably 2 decades. I've been using them since college. I think they're really, really easy on your hand. and I think they're really nice to fussy cut with. So as I fussy cut this image out, normally I would leave a little bit of a white border, but I'm not doing that this time. And it'll kind of make sense as we start to put it together. But I am cutting right on that stamped line because we're essentially going to stamp the images again, emboss them in white on vellum. And so we're going to overlay these guys onto the vellum. And to me, the vellum was like the snow that they were laying in. And I just love, love, love how it came out. You're welcome, Ellie. Happy to answer any questions you guys have. That's also the fun part of us getting together, is we can chit chat and answer questions and hopefully get some inspiration, even if you're not creating tonight. I know some of you guys are, because you were tagging me in posts. I could see you were getting ready. I know Danielle's had a lot of images ready to color. I saw Mary Lou is here tonight, and she always makes a card after the live, and she often doesn't have the supplies that I used, but she makes a similar card with what she has in her stash, and I love that. As much as I love to enable you guys, I also love to just encourage you guys to use what you have. Danielle says, I'm one that really doesn't like fussy cutting, but those Fiskars really make a difference. They do. They take a little bit of time to get used to them. But when I used to manage a store here on Cape Cod, a paper crafting store, I used to sell these all the time to people and they loved them. The two popular scissors that we would sell would be these and then the cutter bees, which nothing wrong with the cutter bees, but what really bothered me back in the day is they wouldn't cut ribbon. And I don't know if you guys remember, but there was a time that we put ribbon on like every card that we made. So it was so frustrating to me that I couldn't just use one pair of scissors for everything I needed. So I just never really loved the cutter bees, but I know a lot of people do. You just got to find what works for you. Let's see. So Miss Happy said these Fisker scissors are tempting. I have to tell you, I got my first pair of these scissors at Adele's store, Cardvark, Miss Happy, when I worked there after college. So not this exact pair, but I probably still own the pair that I got. Hi, Amy. Yeah, super mild weather here on the Cape. It's been nice. Well, and last night we had that rain and windstorm. So also dating myself, but back in the day, we used to fussy cut everything because there were no coordinating dies. And we're talking, 7, 8 years ago, coordinating dies were not a thing. Sherry says she started changing some of her Copics to the bullet. She's doing this. She found a few tips have crystallized. Are the tips you're putting in have crystallized, Sherry, the new ones or the old ones? Yep, all of the lives, Donna, will be for replay on YouTube. I see you're watching on YouTube, so they'll all be on my YouTube channel. And thank you, Jen, for answering that for me. All the previous lives I've done are all on my YouTube channel. So if you haven't caught all of them, I encourage you guys to watch previous ones and get some more ideas. Also, make sure you guys subscribe to my channel. So maybe someday when I upload an actual edited YouTube video again, you'll get a notification. Look how cute Mr. Harley is. I love that we're seeing his belly because, like I said, I don't get to see his belly much. All right. Yeah, I loved that store. That's where it all started for me, was at Cardvark in Concord, New Hampshire. It was my first job out of college, and she had a small stamping section. It was like an old PSX bookcase. PSX was a stamp company back then, and it was a bookcase that you would, display all your items for sale, and it was an awesome gift shop. And so I had dabbled in card making when I was in college for graphic design, and my boss at the time, Adele, she really encouraged me to start teaching intro to stamping classes at the gift shop. And that's how this all started, you guys. So crazy to think. So crazy to think. All right. Aw, thanks, Jennifer. I think Mr. Harley's super handsome, too. He is the most photogenic kitty I've ever had. I love Gus and Jack, but them being black cats, it's really hard to photograph them sometimes. And Jack doesn't like to look at the camera or my phone, which obviously is the camera. Gus quickly either looks like scared, like you're about to murder him, or looks away. And Harley just looks at you, so majestic, so handsome. He's always been so photogenic. I was telling Chris tonight, I can't believe Mr. Harley is going to be 14 years old in April. It's just so crazy. So crazy to think. So now I'm just fussy cutting out this dog, and just as a reminder, I'm not leaving a white border because we're going to layer this onto our embossed image on vellum. So normally when I fussy cut, I do like to leave a little bit of a white border, but I'm not doing that for this. Hi, Kathy. Thanks for popping in. Where are the kitties tonight? Well, they're not in here with me, so I'm going to guess that if Chris is still in the living room, they're all laying on the back of the couch, separated, of course, 1, 2, 3. Or if he's in the bedroom, they are probably sleeping on the bed with him. Aw, yay, Sue. I'm glad I'm teaching your kitty as well. That was one thing that was really fun. I put together a quick little compilation video of my classes from last year, and I had more pictures that you guys shared with me of your pets. A lot of cats, some dogs, watching my online classes. It was so fun to me. I was like, oh my gosh, I taught a lot of pets this year too. All right. Hope says, I'm super good at getting marker outside of my stamped image. I just need to practice. I guess I should take more Gen classes. Well, Hope, you can always fussy cut out your image like I'm doing now. And then something else that I always share is if you go out of the lines, just dab that, color with your white gel pen. And nobody will ever know. It's like our little secret. Suzanne says, how long did it take you to be able to fussy cut so easily? I don't have a set time, Suzanne, but I will tell you that if you just practice and the more you do it, the better you'll get at it. I'll be honest, I'm definitely more rusty at it because of coordinating dies. I don't fussy cut nearly as much anymore, but back in the day, we used to fussy cut everything. You guys, look how cute he is. So cute. Danielle says, I have a feeling my dog is photogenic and cooperating just to get it over with. Aw, yay. I'm glad you guys all have your pets to make you happy. All right, so we're going to set these guys aside. And now what we are going to do is stamp and emboss them on vellum. Just getting my little kit I made myself out. All right. Oops. So this is just a piece of Lawn Fawn vellum. I do think you have to be a little careful when you're purchasing vellum because some of it can be really flimsy, and if you are going to do embossing on it, it might not hold up to that as well. There's a lot of great vellums out there, but I know that Lawn Fawn's, the weight of their vellum is really, really nice. And we are going to stamp and emboss both of these guys. So I'm just going to get them out. Got a die stuck in here and I don't want to lose it. I don't know why I put the stamps back in their packaging, but I guess just so they would look cute for you guys. There we go. I love that this is a smaller set too, because that makes it a little bit more affordable. And even though it's a smaller set, there's still a lot that we can do with it, and we can still create a whole card with it. That's a good question, Jen. I don't know what, I think vellum is just made out of vellum. That's the material. It's not a plastic. It is a kind of paper. But it's not as porous as most papers. I think vellum is the material, but I could be wrong. All right, so anytime I emboss, I like to prime my paper. And for the longest time, I used the EK Success powder tool, but I have fallen in love with the Rabbit Hole Designs Cottontail powder tool. There's no scent to it, and the powder's a little bit different. I think it works better. Genabler alert. I got an order of these in the mail yesterday, so these will be on my website probably tomorrow if I can get a good photo to upload it to my site. I'm going to use white pigment ink. This is the Lawn Fawn Yeti ink, and I'm going to emboss it with white, and I leave the cap of the embossing powder in here just so I will remember what brand it is, but this is the Brutus Monroe Alabaster White. I've tried a lot of white embossing powders over the years, and this is the one that I love, love, love the most. And again, I do have it all linked over on my website, but I've found when you want to do white embossing, if you use a white pigment ink, your white embossing will come out a lot nicer. Oh, calf skin. Oh, that's interesting. Yes, Heidi, if you do any white, especially white embossing, you definitely need a powder tool. I will have them in my shop before the end of the weekend. Oh no, I didn't see that his hat didn't stamp all the way. Let's see. Whew, all right. The glorious thing of having a Misty. All right, so I've got this stamped with the white pigment ink. And I'm just going to get the white powder on there. Because we primed the paper with the powder tool, we're not going to have any lingering embossing powder, which is what's great about it, especially if you're embossing on black. Like you see, I do the little sentiments in white on black cardstock. This is actually the powder over here. It's not white, it's not the white embossing powder. It's from the powder tool. So now, normally I would use an embossing gun, But because I'm working on vellum, I really like to use my Ranger heat tool. It does take a second longer to emboss because the Ranger heat tool is a diffused heat. It's not a concentrated heat. We talk about how great it is when you're doing inky techniques. I'll be honest, my Ranger heat tool is always plugged in and I use it so much that even doing normal embossing, I sometimes just use this Ranger heat tool because I'm too lazy to plug in my Wagner heat tool. But with vellum especially, I find using the Ranger heat tool, it really helps the vellum not curl up and become a mess. Hello, Nadine. Thanks for popping on. All right. So it just takes a little bit longer, but again, embossing gun is so hot. And vellum is a pretty delicate paper. So that's why I like to use the Ranger heat tool. Yeah, it's a diffused heat, so it's a gentle heat. It still gets really hot, but it's not a concentrated heat. So especially when you're working on inky techniques or trying to dry watercoloring or anything like that, it's not going to blow your paper across the table. I think having a Ranger heat tool, if you like to do any distress ink, inky techniques, it's so valuable. I talk about it a lot in my classes. I went a couple months without one and was trying to do my normal for me, like ink smushing and techniques with distress ink with my embossing gun. And I was so unsuccessful. I kept scorching my paper. The inks didn't move around. Like it was just a mess. And I realized that it was actually a good lesson for me as a teacher because I know sometimes you guys might struggle with some techniques that I'm sharing in a class, and sometimes not having the right tools really sets you up for failure. Write them all down, Kathy, and put them in your binder. Hi, Patty. I know. I miss all my stores. You guys are going to have so much fun at Firefly Farm for Lawn Fawn Release Day. I know it. Hi, Sharon. No problem. It's all good if you're late. Sherry asked, how expensive are the ink cartridges? Which ink cartridges, Sherry? Do you mean refills for Copic markers? Oh, yay. Thanks, Mary Lou. Can't wait to see what you post. Oh, you definitely made it, Sammy. We still got a lot of fun to be had here. We're almost done embossing. Just want to make sure it's all melted nicely. And I think it is. I'm just gonna check it in the light, make sure it's all shiny, which it is. All right. So now we are going to die cut these guys out. Oh, see, that's what happened to me, Lori. I had mine probably just as long as you had, and it finally died. And I just took a while. I kind of just procrastinated at reordering another one. And, oh, it was the longest couple months. I was having such a hard time doing all of the inky techniques that I like to do. All right, I'm going to put my cover back on this powder so we don't have an accident. And just going to tape in place our die. That's great. 20 years old. Wow. Annie, I might have burned my fingers a little bit reading comments and embossing at the same time. I tell Chris all the time I'm a really good multitasker. Yeah, I just find, again, using a heat tool is a little bit better when you are working with vellum. All right, so we're just going to use the Altenew Blossom to die cut these guys. This is the small mini die cut machine that I use all the time. I probably do 80% of my die cutting on this little guy. I love, love, love that it can just be right on my desk. It's so fast to just quickly die cut something and not have to run it through a larger machine. How cute. And especially all the lawn fawn cards that I make, all those little critters, this little machine is priceless. If a new Copic marker nub is hard, can it be refilled and saved? I mean, I think all the marker tips are hard, Meg. But you definitely could add a little re-inker to it. If it's a brush tip and it seems hard, you might want to add a little re-inker to it. All right, so we've got our little snow angels cut out. Take a sip of water real quick. Yay to everybody getting the Ranger heat tool. I love it. Love it so much. All right, so this is what I was talking about. This is why I didn't leave a white border, because we're just going to layer these guys right on here, and then they've got the snow and their cuteness, right? So I'm just going to use a little bit of, glue tube. To adhere them to the vellum. A little bit on his little tail. And then we're just going to overlay this right on top of that white embossed image. And this just looks so cute. It looks like they're in the actual snow. Just going to hold it in place for a minute. I saw that, Danielle. I'm tempted too by Hero Art's little die cutting machine. Yeah, I wanted to somehow create snow and was trying to think of clever and creative ideas and came up with this vellum idea. Them lined up. Thank you, Mary. Yep, it's in the spring catalog, Amy. They had Hero Arts had a lot of really cool tools that they have come out with. All right, so cute, right? Our little snow pets. So we're going to set these guys aside and we are going to work on our background. Now, what I did is sometimes I didn't really love how a background was coming out. Like this one, I did a little bit too much water. This one was a little bit too much pink. This one, I was just playing and didn't even get the stamp to work the whole way. But I'm going to keep these because I could die cut these. I could use them on a different card where what didn't really work for this card will work for future cards. So I just kind of wanted to show you guys that because I think sometimes you see what I show you guys on my website and you think maybe I don't have any trial and error. But that's not true. I have a lot of trial and error. So I am using Distress watercolor cardstock tonight. I know some of you might be surprised that I am not using Distress white heavy stock. But Distress watercolor cardstock has been my love for a long, long time. It's a great watercolor cardstock, very affordable. I love that it's a true white. I love that it has the textured side on one side and then a smooth side on the other. And so this is always my go-to for watercolor cardstock. It's what I use whenever I want to watercolor it. I've already die cut it out of the largest outside in stitched rectangle from Lawn Fawn. This is going to give that really nice small stitched border that we're going to layer this onto some peacock cardstock in a little bit. I know, Brienne, I know, crazy. So I die cut it so that I'm going to be working on the smooth side tonight. You most certainly could work on the textured side. People always ask me like, well, why smooth this time and textured other times? It's really just what I'm feeling. And on the smooth side, you're going to get a better detailed stamp. That doesn't really matter too much for tonight, but the snowflakes are smaller, even though we're going to be adding water and kind of making them look a little bit more artistic. But if you want a nice detailed image, you're going to use the smooth side. If I want to appear to be artsy, I will use the textured side because you'll be able to see that on the card and be like, ooh, she's fancy. You know, she watercolored that on fancy paper, even though that's really not the case. Again, this cardstock is super affordable, super awesome to use. Okay, so the background that we're using tonight is this Honeybee Stamps Falling Snow background. Those of you guys that know me really well, I cannot resist any snowflake supplies. I don't want to feel actual snowflakes, but I love all the snowflake stamps and dies out there. I buy them all. But it's okay, right? Because we are get cracking on Christmas. So we're using all our supplies. All right. So I was having a little bit of a tricky time with this because it's a background stamp. So it's 6x6 and I wanted my paper to be in the center and I wanted it to stamp on all the edges but I needed the foam in my Misty because this is a clear stamp. If I take the foam out, there's no cushion for the stamp to stamp really well. So what I actually was using is my Sizzix sticky grid sheets. Okay, so these are 6 by 8.5 and they're sticky on both sides. And so I just kind of put this in my Misty here. And that way I can put my card, this is like kind of tacky and there's cat hair on it because we knew that was going to happen. And I'm going to go ahead and just stick my cardstock to it and it's going to hold it in place enough for me to get my image stamped. Okay. And I'm going to put my cap on my glue tube. But what I'm going to stamp with is salvaged patina Distress oxide. All right. I'm using oxides because I want to have my stamped image show up really nicely. Regular distress inks aren't great for stamping and wanting to have detail show. Oxides are good to stamp with because they have that pigment property. So it'll be, you'll get a better stamped impression from your oxides. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and use, excuse me, salvage patina. And I kind of do, you can kind of see how I'm pressing and twisting a little bit. This kind of just like helps that ink transfer onto the stamp a little bit better. Make sure it's all inked up really nice. And then I'm going to use my Distress sprayer. And this is another tool that's totally underrated. And you're like, Jen, it's just a spray bottle. But what's nice about the Distress Sprayer is it has a really nice fine mist. Okay, so if you press the nozzle all the way down, you get a really, I'm going to move my misty because I don't want to get stuff wet. But if you press the nozzle all the way down, you get a really nice fine mist. All right. But if you toggle it and just kind of like barely press it, I say that it spits. It spits out little droplets. And having those two options when you're doing inky techniques is awesome. And any other spray bottle that maybe you buy at like Target in the, beauty section isn't going to be able to do those things as well. So that's why, again, the Distress Sprayer is really, really nice to have. Not super expensive, will last you forever. Although I had one for so long, it fell on the ground and the plastic actually shattered. But in general, I mean, I had it a very long time. So a great little tool to help when you're working with especially distress inks. All right, so I have this all inked up really well with the Salvage Patina Distress Oxide. I'm going to take the Distress Sprayer. You're not going to be able to see, well, you'll be able to see on my little front-facing camera here, but I'm up high in the air. See me over here? And I'm going to spray down on it so it's a really fine mist. Really fine mist. And this is where I kind of had to play to get the feel. And now I'm going to stamp with it, pressing really well to transfer all that ink. But because I misted it, I'm not going to get the most perfect snowflakes. And that's what I wanted. That's the look that I wanted to get. All right. So now I've got these little wet snowflakes. All right. And what I can do, if I wanted, I could take my Distress Sprayer and I'm doing some of those little spits, those little droplets. I'm toggling the trigger, and I'll bring this up to the camera, but you can see how I have those little water droplets now. So I'm going to actually heat that with my Ranger heat tool, which, by the way, on the side of my desk where my legs go, I have just a command hook, and that's where I hang my Ranger heat tool at all times. So it's always there, ready to go. And so I'm just going to heat this so that those water droplets won't run or anything, but they're going to give this little splotchy look to our background. Yeah, I love my Distress Sprayer. Lindsay says it's like a quahog spit. Exactly like a quahog spit. My Cape Cod girls. Are you trying to stamp your kitties in the Misty? No, I'm not stamping the cats. We've already done that. Yay to more snowflake collectors. Again, I don't want real snow. I just want cute snow on paper. All right. So now, see how it's kind of imperfect in bits and pieces here and there? Not everywhere. You could go crazy with this or you could not do this. Whatever you want. But I just wanted it to be a little imperfect. So I'm going to set this aside and I'm going to do one more because we've got the 2 cards that we're creating tonight. So I'm just going to kind of make sure everything's in place here. Again, I'm using that Sizzix sticky grid. One of those things I bought and I honestly don't use very often, but it really came to save the day when I was trying to do this card. I'm inking up the stamp. This is the Honeybee Falling Snowflake background stamp with Salvage Patina Distress Oxide. And again, I'm going to take my Distress Sprayer. I'm up high. You can see me in the front facing camera. And I'm pressing the trigger all the way down so I get a nice fine mist over all of it. I just did 2. I'm going to go crazy. I'm going to do 3 this time. Wild and crazy. It's a Friday night, right, peeps? All right. I'm going to stamp this down. Hello, Kimberly. Thanks for joining. I'm going to open this up, and you can even see how I have water on my Misty. Maybe you guys can see from misting that. Open it up. Take this off that sticky paper, and this sticky paper is going to stay sticky for quite a while, so I'll use this for future projects. And now I'm going to just toggle the distress sprayer so we get some little spits, some little droplets. I'm sure Tim would love to hear me say how his distress sprayer spits, but that's just how I describe it. Like if you think of something spitting, that's what it's doing. But you can see those droplets are reacting with the distress oxide. And so now I'm just going to heat this, and then we're going to do the pink. Yes, I cannot wait for Crop on the Cape. I had lunch with my friend Melissa today, and I was sharing all the fun and exciting things I have planned. After waiting 2 years, having the in-person Crop on the Cape, it'll be so nice to see everybody. Yeah, you're welcome, Sheila. You never know what you're going to learn in a Jen live or class. All right, so now you can kind of see how some of those snowflakes reacted with the water. And again, that was the look I wanted. I didn't want it to look perfectly stamped. All right, now what I'm going to do is this is removable adhesive. I am going to wipe any water off of my desk that's here. This is a glass tabletop from IKEA, so I often work directly on it. I don't have the Tim Holtz glass mat. It's the one tool I don't need because my whole tabletop is glass. But I'm just going to use some repositionable tape to just kind of hold these in place. They don't need to stay perfectly. They're actually not staying very well at all because because we just heated them with maybe this part isn't going to work. Anyways, it was a better thought in my head. All right, and now what I'm going to use is Kitsch Flamingo Distress Ink Re-Inker. I'm using the re-inker because I want it to be a very saturated color. I'm going to be putting it on this acrylic block, and just kind of follow me. I'll explain as I go. But could I just take the ink pad and press it and smush it to get some ink on here? Yes, you totally could. But I wanted the color to be a bit more intense than that. So I'm going to use the re-inker. All right. Yay. I have the best crew of friends that will be helping at Crop on the Cape. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just doing like 3 little drops with the re-inker, okay? And I'm going to actually move these. That removable adhesive part didn't work. But I'm going to use my distress sprayer just to get these droplets to loosen up and be nice and inky. But this is definitely more intensive color than what I would have gotten with the ink pad. All right. And I'm just going to mix this with my paintbrush. So now I just have like a soupy puddle of Kitsch Flamingo. Okay. So I'm going to put these guys back in place, and I am going to brush this off to get water droplets. And you just got to go with wherever the droplets go, and however big they go, and however small they go, and whatever they want to do. Just working on both backgrounds at once. If you were doing a bunch of cards, you could do a bunch at once. And I think I'm good. That looks good. All right. So let me just clean this up. I always have my flour sackcloth in my lap. So I'm just cleaning off the block with that. I did not get a cup of water for my paintbrush, but I'll clean that later. And I'm just going to move these aside for a minute and wipe my surface down, all the pink ink that went everywhere. You should have saw when I did this the other night. I never have a desk this clean when I'm working normally. And so the other night I had my little area that I was working in, which is notorious for me. And I was splattering ink and they were going all over my Copics. And oh, it was so funny. I'm like, ah. All right. So now we have these awesome inky backgrounds. So I'm going to start to heat them with my Ranger heat tool. And if I want to break up any of this ink or get it to kind of be a different shape, I'm going to toggle the distress sprayer over it to kind of break those splotches up even more, make them a little bit more organic. Now over here, if I wished that wasn't as inky, like so much, I'm going to just take my cloth and soak some of that up just to kind of lighten it a little bit. Hopefully I haven't lost you guys. Yeah, you got to let your control go. You got to just play. And that's why I showed you guys. I had a few backgrounds I didn't like how they came out. And I was thinking about it as I was creating these. We have to remind ourselves, you guys, this is just paper. And yes, it does cost money, but it doesn't cost a lot of money, right? And if we just remind ourselves of that, we'll be more apt to play and experiment and not be so nervous. Okay? So, yeah, I have 3 backgrounds over here that I didn't love. So that was a half a sheet of cardstock. And I'm keeping them. Who knows? You guys might see those in a future Get Crackin', right? But just remind yourself, it's just paper. It's just a little bit of drops of re-inker. And none of this cost any money, really. Pennies, all right? Now, I have to also just point out, if you guys are noticing, Kitsch Flamingo is a magical color. When you use it with water and then dry it with the heat tool, it becomes like neon. Like we're talking like 80s neon. I love it. I'm always like, ooh, it always makes me so happy. All right. Did I miss any questions? I don't think so. You guys are quiet tonight. There's a lot of you watching me, but you're quiet. Yay to just getting the heat tool. Awesome. You're splattering paint. Good, good, good. All right. And then when I get impatient and things aren't drying fast enough, I just blot them with my flour sackcloth. Any kind of little spots that are still wet. But how cool are these backgrounds, you guys? So fun, right? They look organic. They're a little artsy. I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. And I'm hoping that some of you are creating. So I'm totally okay that you're not chatty. Totally okay. I just happened to look up and see how many of you guys that were on with me. And I was just surprised because it seemed quiet, but then there's almost 100 of you guys here. So yay. Yay to fun Friday nights. Meg is coloring dinosaurs, and she has a teal one, a purple one, and an orange one. What should her next one be? What about a pink one? I wouldn't do orange. Not orange, I'm sorry. I wouldn't do green because you've done orange. But without seeing it, maybe a pink one. Pink will go with orange, pink will go with teal, and pink will go with purple. Danielle's too busy coloring her 386 images that she pre-stamped. Oh, I love it. Yay, Danny's swatching for, I'm assuming you're saying for Crop and Create, Danny. Checking out your supply list for that event. Awesome. Cleaning. Yay. I hope cleaning's more fun when we're all doing it together, right? All right. So now what we're going to do is set these aside, and I'm going to work on my sentiments. So for the sentiments, I'll bring the cards back on so you guys can see. I love to do a mix of like a bigger word and smaller words, a scripty word and printed words. Like I love, love, love to mix and match sentiments. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ink blend a piece of cardstock that I already just cut. It's just a like little piece of cardstock. And I'm going to ink blend it with Peacock Feathers Distress Oxide. And the reason why I'm doing Distress Oxide is I just really want it to be a nice, solid teal. I don't want it to be translucent. I just want it to be really nice, opaque, solid teal. Could I use teal cardstock? Yes, I could. But I like my inks. I use my inks far more than I use colored cardstock. So I'm just going to go in. Again, my tabletop is made out of glass, so it's super easy to do ink blending right on it. I highly recommend to do your ink blending on a glass surface. For years, we were using our craft sheets, and those are great, but it's even better on a glass surface. You get no lag. When I use oxides, I still like to use the ink blending tools and foam. I do not use my blender brushes because of the pigment properties in an oxide. I think it gunks up the blender brushes, and you don't really need the blender brushes make it easier to get a smooth blend with a water-based dye ink, and you don't need that when you're using oxides because they blend smoothly on their own, right? And then these are the ink stands. If you guys don't know about these yet, it holds your ink pads in there, and so when you're inking, your ink pad's not sliding all around your table. Love, love, love the ink stands. These are in my shop on my website. I carry the square, the rectangle, and the mini. So definitely check those out. Let's see. Liz wants to play now. You're probably like right in the middle of cleaning where you're in that messy stage and you want to play. I'm not sure what you said a gold one for. Oh, for coloring the dinosaur. Pink for the win. Yay. Oh, that's so awesome that you were making cards for nursing homes, Christy. I bet they super, super appreciate that. I know, no color on my nails. I'm giving them a break. They've got a nail strengthener on them. I cut them short. They're just taking a little breather. So I am using this die set from Simon Says Stamp. It's called Winter Snow, and it just has a little scripty winter word and snow word. And again, very inexpensive, but I love, love, love dies like this that you can use as a mix to mix up your sentiments. Leslie's creating along with me, and she has intense concentration. All right, so I'm just cutting this in half to cut 2 snow words out of it. I always start with such an organized desk, you guys, and then I just start throwing everything on off sides, and I can't find it. All right. Yeah, Peacock Feathers is great. I feel a little guilty because Salvage Patina gets a little bit more love from me nowadays, but Peacock Feathers, we've got history. Well, if you guys saw my Instagram stories earlier today, my room was a disaster. I was like, oh gosh, I got to clean it so I can actually do the live. I had stuff everywhere. Everywhere. All right, so we got one little snow die cut out. We're going to die cut out another one. And if you're wondering, you know, oh, well, I wouldn't know what sentiment to do or, um, you know, one second. My two Misties are sticking to each other. I wouldn't know what sentiment to do or whatever. All that I did was I looked at the sentiments on these sets. Best in Snow. Thanks so much. I could have done You're an Angel. And if I don't have the die that says angel, I would use alphabet dies, right? Freeze the Day. And I could have done freeze with alphabet letters. Love, 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 like Lawn Fawn's alphabet dies. I know, Beth, I cannot believe that Creative Crate is already going to be here next Friday. I got to finish up my handout for you guys. It's on my to-do list. All right, so I've got my two little snows, my little words cut out. And then I'm just going to use my scissors to poke out the little pieces. Don't do this at home because you might stab yourself. Just kidding. All right, so now that I have those ready, these are all little steps to get to our final project, right? Now I want my little words. So I'm actually just going to use my scrap from my fussy cutting. And I'm going to stamp Best in Snow. Love, love, love little blocks for this type of stamping. And I'm going to use Lawn Fawn Bubblegum ink, really nice bright pink to kind of go with that kitsch flamingo. And I'm just going to stamp Best in Snow. Okay. And then I'm going to stamp Thanks Snow Much. Okay. Don't they put your packages, Amy, like in your little front entryway though? Ruth says, I signed up for my first Creative Crate because you kept saying it was so fun. I'm excited for next weekend. Well, I hope you have a blast, Ruth. I think it's a really fun event, and Trisha, the owner of Firefly Farm, does an amazing job. And I've been lucky enough to teach at each one that she's had virtually. So I've got my little word here. See, this is one thing that bothers me with this software is it when I bring stuff up to the camera, oh, there, now it focused. Anyways, I am going to cut thanks off and much off. And this is something that I call word fetti. I purposely like to do this with my scissors, so it's not perfect. And it's kind of like ransom note-ish, but without the murdering somebody part. I was talking with my friend Melissa today about how obsessed I am with true crime podcasts and documentaries and books and shows and movies. And Chris often is like, how are you not an axe murderer with all that you listen to? But anyways, so I laugh when I say that this is like a ransom letter, and then I immediately think of like killing people. But anyways, I digress here. So I cut out thanks much. So we've got those fun little word fetti bits. Okay. And then over here, I'm going to cut out best in. But I like to do it with my scissors, so it's not perfect. I just want it to look, I know I keep using the word organic, but that's what I like. I like it to kind of look a little rough and not paper trimmer perfect when I do this type of technique. But I call it word fetti. If you go to my website and you search word fetti, you'll see all the cards that I have done word fetti on. All right. I love it. You guys are all laughing. Let's see. Jen said, did you do the word separate so you could have it be two tones or because you wanted the word snow bigger? Yes to both of those things, actually, Jen. Which, by the way, Miss Nickerson is my friend Jen. And I love that her and my friend Lindsay, her wife, are watching because neither of them are paper crafters, but I love, love, love that they want to learn and just hang out with me. So thank you. But yes, I am doing it because I do want two different colors, but I'm also doing it because I want one word to be big and the other words to be small. It's the graphic designer in me that likes typography, and I love to like mix and match fonts. We don't want a lot of fonts on a project. Two is enough. But I do like to kind of mix and mingle that because I think it adds a lot to the card that there's different layers and different levels and different sizes. So hopefully that answers your question. Yay, Beth's third creative crate. She's looking forward to it. You guys are all laughing about murdering. I love it. Yeah, see? Dateline. Yes. Me, also Law and Order. Like, I will watch any episode of Law and Order that's on the TV. Chris is like, we've seen this one. I'm like, I don't remember how it ends. All right. Actually, Beth, who is here, is it the same Beth that thought I had these on Action Wobblers that commented on my Facebook? I'm not sure if you're the same Beth. Yeah, the Fun Friends are doing research in crafty lingo for the games. They definitely are, Amy. So oh, it is good. Hi, Beth. So Beth thought when she saw my cards online, she was like, I love Action Wobblers. And I was like, oh, I didn't even think to use those. And she was like, oh, I thought that your images were on them. So Action Wobblers are really, really fun. I have these ones here that are, I don't even know what brand they are. And then I have some of these here from Simon Says Stamp. So we're going to use Action Wobblers tonight. Because it was Beth's idea, and I think that's a great idea. I kind of honestly just forget that I have them. Took me a minute to find them, actually. But before we do that, what are we going to do, guys? What are we going to do? So I tried watching Dexter, and I didn't love it, but I feel like I should try it again because I feel like I would like it. Liz says, being in law enforcement, I can't tell you first 48 hours is as real as can be. Are you saying it is as real as can be? Yay! I love that you guys are all thinking of it. Glitter all of the things. Yes, Kathy's been watching Law and Order from the beginning. Hulu has Law and Order all the seasons, all the episodes, and I did the same thing, Kathy. I started season 1, episode 1. I don't know where I'm at right now. I just kind of watch them here and there, but yes, we are going to glitter all of the things. You guys know me so well. We're going to use my beloved Quickie glue pen, and we are just going to glitter. So for the kitty's hat, I'm just going to do the white trim and the white pom-pom. So I like to add the glue right to what I want to glitter. I'm going to dip it into my Prismaglitter bucket and tap it off. I think a lot of people don't like to use ultrafine glitter because they think it can be messy, and it can be, but with practice, it can also be not messy. So on the scarf, I did just the shadow on the pink. So cute. Glitter all the things. Ooh, Midsummer Mysteries fan. I'll have to check those out, Miss Happy. I don't know if I'm familiar with that. So one more little thing about true crime, and then I promise I'll move on for those of you that aren't interested. But we don't always watch Chronicle because Chris is obsessed with watching Jeopardy, so we watch that every night. But for whatever reason, Chronicle was on last night, and I like to watch Chronicle, like, and learn things about the area and stuff. But they were talking about true crime, and they were talking about some murders that took place, or some bodies that were found in a state park right around the corner from where I grew up. So Miss Happy will know it's Bear Brook State Park in Allenstown, New Hampshire. And I guess 2 bodies were found in 1985, which I was really young at that point, so I can understand not remembering hearing about that. But 2 more bodies were found very close to the original bodies in 2000. And I never, ever, ever heard of this, ever. So now I'm obsessed. There's a Bear Brook podcast on Spotify if you guys want to listen. And yeah, I'm not going to say much more because I don't want to ruin it for you if you guys do want to listen. But it's so fascinating to me that it literally, if you guys look up Allenstown, New Hampshire, it's a super small town. I think at the time of the podcast, there was like 4,000 people in the town, but it's really like literally right next door to Pembroke, New Hampshire, which is where I grew up. So anyways, I'm obsessed and have been listening to that all day. So what I'm doing is I glittered the bottom tips of the snow letters, dipping it in, and look how cute is that, right? I love marrying true crime with craft alongs. I know, I feel like we were talking about true crime on the last Get Crackin'. Maybe I should start that as a selling point. Join me on my Christmas card make along, and we'll talk about murder. But I feel like a lot of you are into it. Not murdering, but true crime. All right. Oh, see? It did win an award. Ah. Did you hear about it, Miss Huppy? Like when those bodies were discovered? So Miss Huppy was actually my art teacher in school, for those of you guys that don't know. She pops in on my lives sometimes. But so that's why I'm asking her if she remembers hearing about it. In 2000, I was in college, but I still went to college in New Hampshire. Like, I'm just so surprised I just didn't hear about it. All right. So we glittered all of that. Now we're going to work with the action wobblers. So action wobblers are really, really fun. You just peel the sticky off, the backing off, put them on your critter or whatever you want to wobble. That sounds familiar, Kathy, the Delphi murders. I bet if I read the premises of that, I have heard about it. Jen and Lindsay are dying. I don't even want to know what you girls are saying about me. I need to make some true crime themed cards. That could be a little twisted, Leslie. I might lose some followers. All right, so this is sticky right here. So I'm going to just stick this guy on. And then those of you guys that don't know, this is your action wobbler. How fun. It's Beth, this was such a perfect idea. Thank you for sharing and making me think of it. It has been on 2020 twice. They were murdered 5 years ago. One of the girls recorded the man as he walked up to them. Oh, were they the girls that disappeared in the park on that bridge, Kathy? Now the cat and dog are looking like corpses to Lindsay. Oh my gosh. Yeah, you guys are cracking me up. Susan says, I feel like I knew people were missing, but didn't know more than that until the podcast. Yeah, I just feel like they kept it really hush-hush, the Bear Brook bodies. Just very interesting to me, right? Aren't the wobbles fun? I promise I'm not a morbid person, you guys. I'm just fascinated. I sit in the studio and make cheerful cards listening to true crime. All right, we're going to add Mr. Harley on here. Look at this. He's making a snow angel. I love it. So fun. Awesome idea, Beth. Thank you, thank you, thank you for reminding me of another simple supply that I just don't use a ton. All right, so now we're going to add the sentiments, and I am going to just use my beloved foam strips. These are a new obsession of mine. I use them all the time. Oh yeah, so much, Jen. Just ask me. Actually, Melissa was sharing a whole slew of ones that she's been listening to, podcasts, and some of them I haven't heard of, so I've got to text her and be like, just send me a list. Yeah, aren't the wobblers so fun, Cheryl? I love them. Love them, love them. All right, and so this scripty word has a lot of skinny points, but I'm just going to focus my foam on the chunkier parts, and that's going to be enough for it to stand up on the card. You don't need to put foam everywhere. And you can see how awesome these strips are to work with. I am, hold on one second. I am just laying them down and kind of cutting as I go. I actually want to cut one in half a little bit. Whenever you want to do that, have it on the backer. It'll be much easier to get it to cut into a smaller piece. But again, I'm only putting foam on the chunkier parts of the word. I'm not worrying about the skinny mini parts. It's still going to pop up on the card and look super cute, which is all we need, is the cuteness. There's one. Oh, I bet Lydia does. I'm friends with Lydia, and we chat about what ones to listen to. That's a good idea. I should start to add mine on my blog, too. We'll just start a whole movement amongst us paper crafters. I'm going to have to try Dexter again. Get back to me on that. I'll try again, but I do remember trying to watch it a few years ago, and I just didn't love it, but I feel like I should. Right? Isn't it interesting, Kathy? How many of us like the true crime? All right. Just need one more little piece, and then we'll start to finish the assembly here. Paper crafting murder hour with Jen Shirkus. Oh boy. All right. So I'm gonna put the snow down first. Cards and True Crime Club instead of a book club. Ooh, you might be onto something, Sienna. Yeah, Edward Gorey would be cool. I actually haven't visited the Edward Gorey house. I've driven by it a million times on 6A. I wonder, Jen and Lindsay, have you been to the Edward Gorey house? All right, we're going to put the snow on here. So cute. Cutthroat creative chick. Oh, that sounds so welcoming. So welcoming. I, of course, cut my nails, so The backers on these foam strips are very easy to peel off, but I have no nails right now. That's a good idea, Danny. And coming up, the Lawn Fanatics Challenge, every year we do one that's inspired by your favorite book, movie, song. So I've done like a Winnie the Pooh card, but I should try to come up with a crime novel or series. Oh boy, with my lawn fawn supplies. All right, so let's make sure I put these on right. We're doing thanks, snow much. Would help if I took the backer off. Oops. And I like to just tuck these little words in around the bigger snow word. Almost that they're touching so that they seem as one piece. Oh, we should make that a fun friends trip to go to the Edward Gorey house. All right, look at that. So cute. So now, just to finish it up, I added some snowflakes, which I just threw one on the ground. I'm not going to go get it. But I already pre-stamped and die cut them because I figured you guys did not need to watch me do that part. And so I'm going to just attach those and then add glitter to them. And then these cards are almost done, you guys. How's everybody doing over there that's creating? Are you guys getting some stuff done? I'm laughing, Kathy, at your stamp suggestions. Now, on my original cards, I just want to kind of show you guys, I had tucked the snowflakes like around the vellum, okay? But because these are on the action wobblers now, I am going to not do that. But when I was placing the snowflakes, I kind of think of them as placing them in the same way that I would place sequins. So kind of clusters of 3 in a diagonal. Yay, Danielle's done coloring. She's glittering all the things. That's good progress. Creating away, Lori. I love it. Sienna watches true crime from all over the world. Where do you watch it, Sienna? All right. Ooh, Miss Huppy, I bet that's so pretty. Painting shells you picked up off the beach. I was going to say, Lawn Fawn actually has a hero set. So there's a fire truck and a police car. Could use those for true crime. Make some yellow tape somehow. Ooh, ideas are brewing. Ideas are brewing. Oh, that's awesome, Ruth. Ruth has done 2 backgrounds, coloring her second image, which she already had stamped. I love it. Using what we have. Ooh, I'll have to check it out, Sienna. Are they all subtitled? And my only reason of asking, I don't mind, but a lot of stuff that I listen to while I'm creating. So if it's subtitled, I'm not going to be able to do that because I wouldn't get anything done. Ooh, yeah, Spooky Village to make a crime scene card. I think that challenge is coming up in March. I don't remember the exact week we're doing it, but I'll definitely have to think of something. Kelly will like laugh at me, like in a good way. She'll be like, "Oh, Jen, what are you doing with my stamps?" Trisha was able to, she managed to add more to her Amazon cart. Do tell, Trisha, what are you adding to your cart? Okay, I just got one more little snowflake to add. I feel like my colors didn't work out as well. My mix of colors. A new season on Netflix of Catching Serial Killers. Hi, Monique. She's just waking up in the Netherlands, joining us. It's 4 a.m. here and I slept through the alarm, so I think it'll, oh my gosh, I can't believe you did an alarm, Monique. Yeah, definitely go back and watch the replay at a more normal hour for you. But thank you so much for putting that effort in. Oh my gosh. All right, so when I have images already on my card and I want to add glitter, I'm not going to dip this whole card into the glitter because that would make a mess immediately. So I use the cap on the back of my pen like a scoop, and I just bring up just a little bit of glitter and sprinkle it where I put the glue and then tap it off. And I'll work in little areas, so I won't do the whole card at once because the Quickie glue pen dries very quickly. So I'll just do, a couple images that are next to each other at once. Bring up just a little bit of glitter. You don't need a lot. And then tap it off. Trisha says, apparently I need the wobblers. Yes, you do. They're so fun. Especially if you have kids in your life that you give cards to. Like, I do remember giving cards to my nephews on wobblers. They were like, oh my gosh, Auntie Jenny is the coolest. So cute, right? And then we're going to glitter up these guys. Hello, Paula. Thanks for popping on. We're almost wrapping up tonight, but you can always catch the replay if you weren't able to be here for all of our chit chat. We actually did talk a lot about crafts. It wasn't all about true crime, I promise. Got a hair stuck to my hand. All right. And then the last thing that I did on these cards is I just matted them on some peacock cardstock from Lawn Fawn just to really make the teal pop. So I've got that. And again, these were die cut with the outside in stitched rectangle from Lawn Fawn, that largest size. I use it on most of my cards. It's Shari's fault. She kind of introduced me to that die a while ago, and since I use it on a lot of my cards. You guys will even notice like cards that I make for Tim, for his releases, I still got to put that Lawn Fawn stitched rectangle on it. I just got to do it. Well, perfect, Paula. You will fit in perfectly when you watch the replay if you love true crime as well. I just love, love, love the little border that it gives with that little stitching. Look at this, you guys. 2 cards. get cracking on Christmas. Got the wobblers. So cute, right? Yes, I do need to put them on card bases. But Arlene, I don't have any horizontal bases cut right now. Oh, but thank you for reminding me. I think I'm going to hop on live some night and we'll just do like a chat and I'm just going to put cards on card bases. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yay. So what did you guys like the most tonight? Did you like the Newton's Nook stamps? Did you like the colors for the Copics? Did you like the background? Flicking the ink? Glittering all of the things? What was your favorite part? Let me know in the comments. Lori loves the stamps. Love it all. Loves the snow angels on the vellum, playing with the inks, the colors of all the cards, the wobbler, the stamps. Yeah, the wobblers would be good for Easter cards for sure. Like, can you imagine? Even those little chicks that I did with Tim's new dies, those would be really cute on wobblers. Oh, he would have loved that if I sent my cards in on wobblers. I'll have to remember that because he loves a good interactive card. Awesome. All the things, learned so much. I love to hear that. Thank you. Yay. Yeah. High five to Beth again for reminding us all about the wobblers. Too hard to choose a favorite. I like how you flick the ink. I haven't seen it done that way. Yep. Yay. I'm glad you guys had fun. Well, I thank you guys so much for joining me. Remember, Get Crackin' on Christmas is always the third Thursday of the month. That's when I'll share my cards with you. And then the live is usually that next Friday or the next night. But I have a whole schedule, I think from now until June, on my website. So check that out and you guys can kind of pencil those dates in along with those class dates that I've shared with you. Lots of fun stuff coming down the pipe, you guys. Next Thursday is Lawn Fawn release day. I'll be announcing details of my next online class. We've got more free mini Create With Us classes that Kelly Marie and I do together. So we have more of those coming up. I will be seeing some of you at Creative Crate next Friday for Firefly Farm virtual event. And then Crop on the Cape in March is my in-person event here on Cape Cod. So excited. And then we've got Crop and Create, which is Scrapbooking Cards Today's event the weekend after. All the C's, you guys, all the C's. It's so hard to remember or just not even remember the names, but say them correctly. Yeah, the Lawn Fawn release, you guys, if you are Lawn Fawn fans, this, I swear, I feel like I say this, but this release is amazing. There's so much cuteness in this release. Just remember, you guys, you don't need to buy it all at once. I know it can seem overwhelming and everybody has budgets and you want to stay within your budget. Lawn Fawn does not retire things very often, hardly ever. So don't be stressed and like, just pick a theme and go with it. If you do classes with me, you can kind of go off what supplies you need for those and purchase that. But it's a good release. It is a good release. Yeah, Crop on the Cape is going to be amazing. My friends Jen and Lindsay, who've been chiming in tonight, will be there. They host the games and they're going to be selling their wash ashore necklaces. And then the boys, 27 and Brad, will be there. They're going to be helping out. And then Chris, of course, will be there. He doesn't have a choice. And then my friend Josie comes from New Hampshire and she helps as well. It's a big event with over 250 people. So it's a lot of moving parts, but I'm so excited. I have so much fun things planned for this year. And after waiting 2 years, we're going to have so much fun. A friend needed to pay me some money for a shared trip. I asked her to give it to me in lawn fawn. I love it. That's awesome, Leslie. Lawn fawn will be my birthday present to me. Ooh, happy early birthday, Christine. Yeah, the new interactive die is amazing, Monique. And spoiler alert, I am using it in my next online class. I understood what you meant, Leslie. Berries might be a theme, might be the theme of my first class. Thanks, Lori. I'm so glad you found me and ran into this live and joined me. I miss you, miss seeing you. No worries. Bucket list item, Dusty's mom. Crop on the Cape can be a bucket list item. I know this year's still a weird year. But it's definitely a fun event. All right, you guys, I am going to sign off. As always, all the supplies that I used tonight are listed over on my website. I put a link in the caption on YouTube and in the caption on Facebook, but you also can just go to shirkus.com. It is one of the top posts, and you'll see all of the supplies listed. Those are affiliate links, so when you click on them and you make any purchase from them, I do get a little bit of a kickback, and I appreciate those. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, send me an email, pop me a message, whatever you guys would like. I really appreciate you hanging out with me. And definitely, if you were making holiday cards and you post them, tag me and use the hashtag #GetCracking on Christmas so we can all see what you've been working on. All right, you guys, I will see you live again very soon, if not next month. Bye, guys.